Hello BookTube, I'm back with another video today and I'm going to be going through some of my all-time reading stats. I'm going off Storygraph today, and before we start, this isn't all my reading stats of like my entire life. I got Storygraph when I was like 16 or whatever, and I've been using it on and off, but pretty much this is just an idea of some of the books I've read and like my stats throughout my reading life so far. And so I'll start. I've got it on my phone here. So if you see me looking down, it's just because I'm reading it. But before we get to the stats, I want to talk about some of the stuff it says on like your profile, how it's got like your reading taste right now. And for me, I haven't looked at any of these, so I'm actually really excited because I never really used Storygraph besides just adding books. But it says here, I mainly read fiction books that are reflective, dark, and emotional, and I typically choose medium-paced books that are under 300 pages long, which is interesting because I've always thought myself as like a slow-paced, like I always love a slow-paced story, but we'll see as I look into the stats now. I'm not going to read out all the stats just because some, like in terms of like, oh, did you read that as like an audiobook or like a physical book, like, all languages, we're going to skip that because that's not as fun. So we're going to be going off. In terms of the read books I've uploaded 881 books. um, and so, yeah, and that's 279,207 pages just casually. I'm starting to sweat reading all this out because it's a lot. For me at least, I feel like it is. Um, Average time to finish is 1 day. Um, the main moods, I'll do like the top five. Reflective, dark, emotional, informative, and adventurous. So that's exciting. In terms of pace, 17%, which is 143 books, are fast paced. 45%, which is 383 books, are medium paced, and a whopping, if it decides to load, 444 books, which is just over 50%, is fast paced, is slow paced, sorry. Slow paced. And this is fun. Page numbers. My most is sorry, it takes a while to load. Under 300 pages, and that is for 405 books. The next one is for over 500 pages is 108. And I love when I click on it 'cause the first one that comes up is Romola by George Eliot. And in terms of a medium pace book, medium page lengths like 300 to like 499 is four, 303 books. So that's exciting. And the first book that came up is The Shining. And I haven't read that since I was very young. In terms of fiction to non-fiction, the majority is fiction, but I always make a point of reading non-fiction. I want to read more, and I have like an entire case full, and I feel like I need to, like, I always make sure I don't want to not read non-fiction, but I've read 25% of my reading is non-fiction, which is still 215 books, and my fiction is has a value of 650, which is 75%. In terms of genres, this is going to be. There's the one thing about Storygraph is I need to point out is that they don't distinguish between reading and rereading, and they just lump the stats together. So when it comes to classics as my top genre, it says I've read 393 classics, and then under that, right next to that in two is romance at 133. Um, what's next here? We have historicals at 87, plays 79, contemporary 62, fantasy 57, horror 54. I'm picking out some of the fun ones. Like, I always think of like genres I don't read as much, and the more I scroll down, like in terms of something like manga. I read my first manga book this weekend. My friend recommended. I sound so white talking about it because I have no clue, and I really loved it. But I'll talk about it in my reading wrap up. And yeah, so my top genres: classic, romance, literary, historical, plays, histories, contemporary, fantasy, horror, short stories. Those are like the main ones. What's next? The next one is the fun one, the most read authors. And at number one by a large margin is Billy Shakes. And this isn't fair because I've read the complete plays and I've reread a lot of them just throughout, my life. And so to say I'm 65, take that with a grain of salt because I have reread a lot of his plays. And number two, we have Robin Hobb. I've read 18 books. And The Realm of the Eldlings is 16 books. And I read one of her novellas and another book in a like Soldier's Son trilogy. And I need to get back to that one. My third all-time read author is Thomas Hardy. 16 books I've read from him. There may be a reread in there. Um, and yeah, I haven't added his poetry or his short stories because I've never read his short stories. I don't know if they're good or not, but I will take the hit when I find them next time. Number four, we have Stephen King. And I never talk about Stephen King, at least I haven't on my channel yet, but I grew up with King. When I was like 14 to 15, I pretty much like overdosed on King. And it got to the point where I just woke up one day and I think something in my brain changed, like, nah, he's going. And I had like an entire case of King at one point, and I just got rid of all of it. I put them in like 3 book boxes, dumped them at op shops, and I never looked back pretty much. I did try to reread one of his books when I was like 19, and I just was scarred by it, the writing. Like, I think I tried to redo Misery, and just the opening, it was just, I don't know what I saw in him that I liked so much when but I just outgrew him, I think. Next author we have Dickens. This is gonna go up a bit more because I still have like 4 more novels I need to do by him, 5-ish, and yeah, he's gonna go up. But I love that Dickens is up there because it's such a love-hate relationship with him. And a bit different, we have Tessa Dare right now, my queen, 14 books. Love Tessa Dare, love her Regencies. The day she comes out with another book, I am seated and I am ready. My eyeballs, I am mentally prepared for it. And then another jump to a different author. Next we have Roald Dahl. I'm I'm a bit biased. I read his books growing up, and like a year or two ago, I reread all of his children books. And when I get paid next, I hope to get like the box set of his children's books. Plus maybe like I'll probably get like a short story collection of like his non children's like short stories. So I think it'd be interesting to see him write um for a different audience and see what he sounded like. After Ronald Dahl, we have Franz Kafka at 13. And I've read everything pretty much. Like, in terms of his fiction, I've read everything by Kafka. I love Kafka. You know I love Kafka. Then second last, we have here Elizabeth Gaskell, 12 books. Again, we love Gaskell. Then last, we have George Eliot with 11 books I've read from her. And it's George Eliot. I don't know what you want me to say. She's a queen. Is there anything else? No, that's really it. So that's all of my reading stats. There is stuff like star ratings and like publication dates, but that's a bit boring, and I feel like I'll do another video of those. But yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube. Let me know if you find any of these stats a bit surprising or your thoughts. Let me know, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, BookTube.